How do you sell land to a land developer? We're going to cover that in this video. Let's just get it clear. Selling land to a developer is a game changer, and the money involved is almost scary. It's so good. Have you ever driven down the road and seen an empty lot with a sign on it that says for sale? You're like, well, who's going to do what with that? There are so many layers to land that make money, and we're going to uncover all of those in this video. The other thing we're going to cover in this video, how would you like to do this? How would you like to never go to Home Depot, never lift a hammer, never do anything, actually never being involved with the deal and still making double on your investment? These are the types of things we're going to cover in this video. But first, you know the drill. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and most importantly, type out a question if you have one. Okay, I am the one that answers those. I answer all the questions on that. So let's just jump right into this. Okay, land is money. Okay, you've got to look at the different layers of it. There's buying land and just holding it, not a whole lot of money in that. Okay, there's buying land and developing it, and a lot of people get really confused with this. Well, I'm not a builder, I don't do that stuff. You don't have to be. Well, here's a good example. Here's a property, one particular property that I was thinking about, okay? It was zoned agriculture by the county. There's nothing that could ever be grown on this property. So I had a student that proved to the county that that property wasn't going to be an ag property. It was more suited as a commercial. They did all the math and everything, engineer report. It cost them about $23,000 to do this. This went from an $87,000 piece of property to a $987,000 now that it's zoned commercial. And they didn't do one thing to the property. Just by changing the zoning on it, the value went through the ceiling. And that's where I want you to think about, okay? And that does sound a little scary. I got to change zoning, I got to do it. It's just a process. Like anything else that the county would want you to do, there's always going to be paperwork involved. There's always engineers. There's always stamps that get involved. There's people that won't return your phone calls, all of that stuff. But there you have it. So land are so many opportunities. So let's talk about selling it to a developer. Okay, so now that this person's got this property set up as a commercial piece of property, it changes the dynamic of the customer. So think about this. I've got a piece of property with no bedrooms and a bathroom. That's kind of what a raw piece of land is. Now I've just turned it into a commercial piece of property. Now it's got 15 rooms. In other words, the options go up dramatically. So your client base or your customer base or your buyer base go up dramatically also. So what builders do is build, okay? They build on land. Okay, if they can have somebody come to them with a piece of property that already has all the mechanics of that done, they will pay the price for it because they also know what the time involved in. I want to build, here's a property, it's already gone through the approval process, they're good to go. As opposed to finding the land, going through the approval process, maybe getting denied, all of these types of things, and now they're a year out and they still haven't got the project up and going, and their company is out there building, not getting property ready. That's not their MO. Another example I've got, I'm looking at a property right now. They want $1.5 million for the property. Old house on it, not really worth a whole lot, but this is in a county that's looking for development. They want houses in this area. I'm looking at this. We could subdivide this property up into 52 residential pieces of property. So this property, once I do that, okay, and get it all laid out, I don't have to do anything, no flags, no bulldozers. I just get it approved to make all that stuff happen. Once that happens, the value will go from 1.5 to about $4 million because now the developer can come in there and go, oh, it's all ready. All they got to do is get their bulldozers and start the whole project and go from there. It's huge what happens. Didn't go to Home Depot, didn't evict a tenant, didn't deal with any kind of rehabs or mold or any of that stuff. This is a great way to do it. This is one of the things that you've heard me say in some of my other videos about if you've got a piece of property, fully improved lot in a subdivision, what am I always looking for? I'm looking for current construction. That means somebody's there doing something. And the first thing that people say is, well, why isn't the builder buying these? Well, number one, they didn't know about it or they don't know how to do it. That's why you're watching the videos, okay? So that could be part of the process. Another way to get a builder on your side to buy it is maybe not even take some cash up front. So I'm on both sides of this stick. So there's some properties right now that I'm buying from individuals, and I'm saying, look, I'll just give you $5,000 with a 2-year option on it. But instead of giving you $50,000 per lot, I'll give you 60. So I don't have to come up with $50,000 times 10 in this situation, which is $500,000. All I have to do is come up, what? $50,000. I've secured the property, I can build, I pay them out of the backside. Slow that down if you need it. I can also do the other side. If I've got a property the developer wants, I can go, hey, tell you what, okay, I want $2 million for this property. You don't want to pay $2 million, but how about if you just give me $50,000 earnest money, I'll tie the property up and you give me the 2 on the backside. I know it's a little more than the property is worth. He doesn't have to tie up $2 million and it's a win-win situation. Either way, both parties get what they want. So again, I haven't had to pick up a nail gun. I guess we're in the modern era, right? I don't have to worry about mold, all this stuff. This is land. There's so many ways to do this. There's like little clubs out there that people transfer land back and forth. Who needs this? Who needs that? Developers are constantly looking for this, okay? Also, one last thing to look for land development and knowing where it's going is get to your city planning department. Find out where progress is going. I know from my experience, just in my backyard, there's a corridor right from where my daughter's school is all the way out to Lincoln that's being developed right now. If you can get the property out there, you're right in front of it. It's about 5 years before it'll get there, but it's already in the plans. You know it's going to happen. Get in front of progress. One of the challenges you're going to have is zoning. Okay, so when I find a piece of property, I don't have to do anything to the property. I can go to the county and start asking questions about the property. Will you allow this? Like for instance, out in California, there's a new rule where you can subdivide any property in the state. This is a goofy rule that they put out to try to get more housing going on. I don't know if it's going to work, but I found a property, 2.5 acres. I'm going, well, wait a second. I can subdivide this up into 4 properties. But I knew the county that I was dealing with is a little different, a little stricter, a little less lenient with that stuff. So this goes back to every county has their own version of the rules, right? So the state has a law that says they have to do this. Doesn't mean the county's going to do it. So I went to the person at the county that handles this stuff and said, look, I'm looking at this piece of property. I'm thinking about, I didn't even get the words out of my mouth. We're not going to let you subdivide it. I'm going, but you guys have to. They go, yeah, try us. So this goes back to what I talk about with tax liens. You go to a state, here's the rules. Every county in there is going to interpret them differently. And whatever they say goes. I mean, I can try to fight the county, but it's going to cost me tens of thousands of dollars to prove that I'm right, and now there's no value in the piece of property. Okay, so as frustrating as that is, I need to know the regulations. I need to know who I'm dealing with. I need to know, is the county, going to bend for that? I mean, you guys just think about this. Step above the trees just for a minute. I think you'll understand what I'm talking about. Just different areas handle things differently. Okay, I'm talking about different counties on that. So sometimes you can kind of tell where they're going on it. What I wouldn't do is listen to other developers, because I've had this before. Nope, they're not going to do this and this and that. And they actually don't do that portion of it. They just build. Okay, so what I do is go, okay, well, maybe that's the case. Maybe they weren't talking to the right person, whatever and so it's okay just to scratch a little bit. But I don't even have anything on the property. I haven't put a contract in it. I haven't done anything. But what if I do find a property and I want to lock it up? You can lock the property up, typically 30 to 45 days. You put $5,000 in earnest money. Says, listen, I'm interested in this property. I need to do some more due diligence on this to find out if things are real. Now that you've got a contract on the property, you might, I've spent money on engineers before, $10,000, $13,000. Say, hey, get me an engineering report on this property, and we need this quick to figure out, floodplains, all that good stuff on it. And sometimes it comes up zero, but at least I know right there going in there. But the upside is tremendous. So this is how you're getting the property ready for the developer. Okay, now, who are you going to sell it to is a whole different deal. There's home builders in it. There's small builders in it. All of these people in there have somebody literally in their office that's all they do. They're constantly looking for projects because they have to be 1 year ahead of the build. It's crazy. A really good friend of mine, that's all he does for a major developer, to rename nameless. Okay, they're doing literally 1,500 homes a year, and he's got to stay in front of that all the time. He said it's exhausting because he's got to deal with all these regulations out there. And if he can find a property like I'm telling with you that's already ready to go, it makes his job easier, and they're more likely to do it, and they'll pay more money for that. The unknown is now known. This is a great way to make money. You're going to absolutely love this. I've got some great new videos on training on this. All you got to do is go down to higginsmethod.com. I'll get you free training. And then also there's a book out there, America's Secret Investment Strategy. I'll send both of those complimentary to get you and your family going in this. All sorts of different ways to make money in the real estate world, and this is just one of them. God bless and good luck.